as of today's recording, we're going to be together on a retreat in 12 days.
12 days? Is it really 12 days?
I'm also going to be living in a new house by the time I'm in the retreat, which that's kind of...
I feel like that's not... you've been living in a lot of different places recently.
How many houses have you lived in since you started working here?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'm just two. Okay.
Well, it just feels like a lot more because we have this conversation daily. So I just...
Yeah, I want...
Just like live somewhere already, dude.
I've made a decision to bring you into as much of the chaos as possible.
Can we opt out?
We don't have that segmentation yet.
According to can spam laws, you actually...
And let me tell you, you cannot fully unsubscribe from me. But we're going to be together. We're going to eat a lot of food. And so that had me thinking. I pulled a list of like 5 of the most popular or regular... Sorry, 5 of the most popular cuisines that we can get. And I wanted to just have a little conversation about them and maybe rank them. Like, tell me what your favorites are, what you don't care for. So we have Italian, Mexican, Japanese, Indian, and French.
I have one question.
Okay.
Where's American? Where's American on that list?
I said good cuisines. No, I'm just kidding. I like American cuisine.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
What is American? Is it just hamburgers? Like
I'm literally envisioning hamburgers.
Is it just McDonald's?
Fried chicken, maybe?
I think that's a controversial thing because we don't have a national cuisine, I wouldn't say. But America's got great food. When you think about Southern food, when you think about like Creole food, Maine and like New England food, we have a ton of good food. I think we get slammed because we don't have like a really narrow cuisine like a lot of these other. But I think that's true about a lot of the other countries here, like Italia.
Italia.
That is the technical name for it.
Big Italian fan, huh?
Italia has 50 different cuisines, and they're all very distinct and different. But we kind of think of it as like Italians, pasta, and pizza. But I think America gets a bad rap. I think the most national stuff is hot dogs and hamburgers, but
yeah. Did we invent the hamburger? I feel like we didn't even invent that.
I always thought that we didn't, but I did see a story on the news the other day about like the first restaurant in America that created the hamburger. And so, and it was a very small like tavern, and they still had the original equipment that they basically, I guess, broiled the burgers or the meat in. So I don't know the answer, but I think that we actually created that.
Louis Lassen invented the burger when he put scraps of ground beef between slices of bread for fast, easy eating.
Dang. Just
in the U.S.
Dude, that's our legacy is just leftover garbage put together into a package like a hot dog, or that's our claim to fame. Efficiency.
All right. So what about these other cuisines? Ariel, what sticks out to you? What do you like?
Italian is always a top for me. I'm going to put French at the bottom.
Really?
I feel like Mexican, it depends. That's top-ish. Maybe Japanese is top up there as well. 4 and 5 are Indian and French.
Really?
2, 3.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I love Indian food though too. There's just
Indian food.
Italian, Mexican, Japanese, and Indian. Like those, it just depends on the day, which would be top. How about that? But Italian's always top.
I think that it depends on the location for some of these on where I feel like Italian food is pretty similar all over the country. Like you go to an Italian restaurant, you can expect most of the same things. Mexican food, I feel like varies a lot. Like Mexican food in Texas is totally different than Mexican food in California. And then everything Mexican food wise that I've had like in the northern half of the country sucks.
Can we wait a second? Like Mexican food, are we thinking that's not Taco Bell? That's not
no, I don't think
I mean obviously well yeah, but like let's
Robert's
set
like,
some
that's
parameters.
What I was going with.
Can we just set some parameters for what Mexican food is and what it isn't? Maybe.
Okay, let's say tacos, enchiladas, quesadillas.
Yeah, I mean, in every one of these categories, like using Italy as the example, there are many different styles of Italian food. So like sometimes I'll go to a Roman Italian restaurant. Sometimes I'll go to like a Napa.
Come on.
Napolitan.
Say it.
You got it.
Napolini.
It's Napolation, actually.
I think that depending on where you go, you get different kinds of food. But then there's kind of that base, just like big box Americanized Italian. Same thing with Mexican, probably across most of the country. But then when you go to Texas, you get Tex-Mex, which is not Mexican. It's Tex-Mex. So I wonder if getting that specific is even helpful. I think we probably need to keep it just in very vague terms,
all right.
Okay, vague terms. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What is French? Like, what's French food?
So French
Garbage.
is, oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel some really hot
Snails,
takes
Robert.
here.
I do have
Wow. French cooking is the most technical and like delicious, good cooking there is.
We're really in Michael's wheelhouse
Okay.
here. Okay, so like, what are some examples of like common French foods?
Coq au vin, beef bourguignon. I can't
boeuf
pronounce these.
bourguignon.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
you know,
they
the
do a
very
lot of
traditional
steaks.
meat, the mother sauces, rich,
I
lots
feel like
of butter.
French is the least common of these cuisines.
It's hard to, if you go to a quote unquote French restaurant, you're probably going to like a really fancy type of restaurant. But
Yeah.
French technique and, you know, cuisine, I think, makes its way through a lot of American cuisine, especially if you go to like a new American type restaurant. Like there's a lot of those sort of techniques that are built in. So it may be the one that you are least likely to go to the French restaurant, but a lot of the stuff you cook at home or, you know, older cookbooks have a lot of that French influence in it. It's definitely the most technical of the cuisine.
It's the most influential, but the least prevalent
It's
by
least
name.
prevalent here because I think a lot of the stuff is people would consider it to be weird food. Like,
I feel like there's
Yeah.
not like a fast food alternative or like, you know,
Thank goodness.
yeah, that's probably
I don't
true.
want fast food coq au vin.
so here's how I'm going to rank these because very fortunately I've been to 4 out of these 5 countries. I haven't had a lot of Indian food, but I would say like if you go to these places, like the easiest thing here how they are in terms of like how easy it is to find something that is good and that you would recognize. Like if you go to Mexico, you can find some tacos. I feel like that's pretty easy and it's good. Most people like tacos. Italy, it was actually when we went to Italy, it was surprisingly hard to find like the Italian food that we would eat here. Like there's pastas, but it's not like the same thing as like going to Olive Garden. It's like way less pasta than you would think, and it's like weirder.
Where are you at?
Like more. I went to Rome, Florence, and
Venice.
Yeah, Rome, Florence, and Venice, and I've been to Milan too. And you can find pizzas like you can find a pizza and go like, yep, that's an Italian pizza. Like that makes a lot of sense. The pastas are a lot different than what we generally eat here. I found Japanese food is kind of what you would expect it to be. I mean, it's just like it's fish. You know, it's fish and white rice. So, and then French food was the weirdest one, where it was hard to find something that I thought tasted good. Like all the menu, there's like steak frites. Is that how you say it? Steak frites, steak and fries. Like outside of that, like it was kind of hard to find something that wasn't super weird. But they do have a lot of charcuterie boards. So I would rank this like every bar. If you go to like a neighborhood bar, you can get like a nice, legit charcuterie board. So I would say Mexican, Italian, Japanese, French, and then I just haven't had a lot of Indian food, so I can't really rank it properly.
When we went to Italy, we were in Florence and we went to a place and got pasta. And it was like you chose, like they had the pasta sort of like on display, like pre-made in a way, and you chose what you wanted. And then right in front of you, they microwave it and serve it to you. And it was good. Like I really enjoyed it, but also
it's like
I
fast
think,
food pasta.
yeah, me and my 2 roommates who I was with at the time, we were all like, holy shit, we were not expecting that.
Japan was kind of like that too, though. Like Japan had a lot of fast food, but it was like not our fast food where it was like McDonald's or something like that. They still had those things, but they had a lot of like what you would think would be a meal you would cook that you microwave instead, or that it's like heated in some weird way, or it comes out of a vending machine. Like they had some strange stuff there.
I'm probably going to go Italian first, but I'm not heavy on pizza or pasta. Like those aren't the things that draw me to Italian food. But there's just kind of the culture of the different fruits and vegetables and the way that they prepare their food. I things with tomato, meat, And then I'm always a sucker just for some good Campari, so I know that's in there somewhere. But just the culture of you have the sea, you have the land, you go into the north of the country, you get a completely different cuisine. I like Italian food, but I really do like eating at the more regional restaurants that are not just like pasta and pizza. Although I love a good pasta and a good pizza. I'm going to go French next, not because I go to many French restaurants, but when I do cook, like I'm going sort of to French inspired recipes, and I like rich, big hunks of meat dishes with lots of onions and garlic. And so I like French. Indian, I'm a sucker for Indian. Now I can't take any spice, so you could say that's probably that wouldn't seem to be the cuisine I'd gravitate towards. But we love some good Indian food. And is there anything better than like garlic naan with mint chutney? Like that's just, you can never not be happy with garlic naan and mint chutney.
So good.
Can we just pause for a second? I love your dedication to using the word cuisine often.
Just means
we're in Michael's wheelhouse right now.
We're deep down into the
as you'll notice, I feel like Ariel and Bobby sort of like kind of gave their rankings, and like Michael has like a full on explanation with each of like, here's why this is second.
I think he's trying to flex on us a little bit. He's flexing on us a little bit. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think in this situation it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Carry on.
Next would be Japanese. I love sushi and the fish, but Japan has a great like fried chicken culture, and one of my favorite. Well, goodness gracious, it's like I can't even talk to you.
I'm sorry, I muted myself. I can't help that Robert didn't mute himself when he laughed. I'm sorry. I tried to do my best.
I will not mute my laughter.
Just when you said fried chicken culture, it's sorry.
Yeah, it's 3 words you don't expect to hear together.
Never heard somebody say that in that way. But yes, there's like I just imagine this like cult following of like fried chicken.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do. They have a lot of
like a whole culture.
A lot of fried chicken, yakitori. One of my favorite restaurants to go to is a yakitori place, which is just stuff on a grill. And then Mexican is last for me. I like Mexican just fine. It's like my wife's favorite. To me, it like I want it once a month. I don't gravitate towards doing it more than that. And I feel like I've been neutered in my excitement for it by you all.
Okay. I was like, man, is there more context?
I had to land that real soft so I don't get mocked relentlessly.
No, I just wanted to hear you say like refried bean culture or something like that. Like I wanted to hear something like that.
Robert, didn't you have a band in high school called Refried Bean Culture?
Yeah, it was actually, we had 5 people playing triangles and 2 xylophones, and that was it.
That sounds
It was
good.
a nightmare.
So it was a 5 bean? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go Japanese, Indian, Italian, Mexican, French for all the obvious reasons.
You just like sushi a lot?
Yeah, I love sushi. This is an ignorant question. Japanese, do they do stir fry? Or is that more Chinese?
I think it's more Chinese.
Japanese do stir fry.
I think they do.
I'm sure they
do.
probably do, but like when you think of like a stir fry.
I just don't remember having like a bunch of like fried breaded meat like you get with Chinese food. Like it was
right.
It's more of, if I remember correctly, it's like not really breaded stuff as much with the stir fry, but I don't remember.
I can really get down with like some quality meat and white rice. Like I'm pretty content with those 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice, we're good.
Yeah, I felt like their food was like very simple and it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mexican food is pretty simple too, though. It's like it's a tortilla and some meat and some
I
beans
think
or something.
During this conversation, I've realized why I don't have more excitement about Mexican food is I feel like I like a lot of like sort of like umami type flavor in my food, like that like full sort of mouthfeel. And I feel like the main source of that in Mexican food is like queso often.
Yeah.
And granted, like if you use a fattier cut of meat, maybe, but yeah, like rice and beans and like a chicken, like just isn't super satisfying to me.
So we're not going to mock Robert for saying umami? Just going to let that one
No,
slide?
because he didn't say umami culture
okay.
and he didn't say like umami cuisine.
And also it's the proper word, so
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
think it's
I think
fair.
I agree that Mexican, it's like, I do like it. I like guac and I like margaritas and I like, Mexican meats. I don't love,
I thought we were trying not to talk about your
beans.
drinking on this show.
but
Did we say that we weren't going to mention that anymore?
but I do agree that like I like richer food. So like a French has tons of butter and tomato and like just rich big hunks of meat, and Japanese, well, and Italian obviously too, has that kind of deep, rich flavors, umami.
Yeah, I think French would probably be higher on my list, like maybe up to number one if I'd eaten more French. Because, yeah, when you talk about like onions, garlic, butter, like rich flavors, that's if I'm cooking for myself, I'm going
So
in
what
that
I'm
direction.
hearing is Ariel needs to make you a boeuf bourguignon on the retreat.
Bourguignon. Yeah, that'd be great. Or you could.
No, I don't.
think that
I
I
don't want
would
to. I don't want my
make it
reputation
well?
to. I don't want.
Why are you saying that Ariel has to cook it?
I'm.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it because I'm a woman?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I love how happy Ariel was with that one.
I was trying to set her up for it a little bit, but I
Yeah.
didn't know if she was going to knock it out of the park or not.
Teed it
Thank
up
you.
very
Yeah.
nicely.
Thank you.
do that
Thank
for her.
you.
Great work,
Appreciate that.
everyone.
Come in there from
High
the top
fives.
rope, Ariel.
Yeah. Should we just move on from
I
that?
think we
I
have
think we're
to.
done with this episode.
He was neutered and murdered in the same sequence. So
Michael, I'm sorry that this
Me
has
too.
happened.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm relatively sorry.
I just wouldn't
not.
want. I wouldn't want my reputation to continue to be besmirched by you all eating my cooking.
No, I feel like I would actually love to eat your cooking. If you made us a
me
meal
too.
on the retreat, I would be really excited about that.
Not going to happen.
Okay, well,
Okay, that's
I'm not the one who.
well.
made
I guess
that
Ariel's
joke,
just going to
let
have
it
to
be
cook
known.
all. Ariel's going to cook every meal for us then.
That's fine. As long as someone else does the dishes.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Thanks.
I'm a pretty. I play pretty big in the dishwashing culture. I think it's something that I really have embraced.
All right.
All right. I have a questionable decision, potentially. I don't know. We'll see. And to give proper credit, this is from the Penny Hoarder. They have like a Dear Penny editorial where people submit questions, but I thought this one was very interesting. And I think just based on our last conversations, people are going to have some strong opinions about this, maybe, potentially. So this says, Dear Penny, I've decided to basically cut off my daughter once she's finished high school, which will be just over 5 months from now. She didn't do anything wrong. I'm not eager to get rid of her, and I could easily continue to provide her basic needs, but I won't. I myself lived with my parents into my 20s, but I feel like this did me no favors. I've come to believe in sink or swim and hard knock life philosophies, so please don't argue about this decision. My only question is when and how to deliver this news to my daughter. I don't want to ruin her birthday or the rest of her senior year, so I may wait until after graduation to tell her that she's on her own. At the very end, it says, I hope to still have a relationship with her after this, but I will understand if she doesn't speak to me for a while. Should I continue to gently lead my daughter toward independence without letting on that it will be forced? Or do I need to inform her now that she will be on her own come summer? Again, my decision is firm in that regard, so please don't argue there.
Hey, Ariel, I think you're going to sit this episode out. Okay?
Why are they even submitting this?
Don't know, but I think it's a great one for us to talk about.
I have made my mind up about this, and I want you to know. And I'd like a little feedback, but not too much.
Yeah.
It's just
So
an odd
to summarize,
submission.
is it a good idea to predetermine that you're cutting your child off, and then you're just only trying to figure out when you should tell them and potentially like ruin their life temporarily?
What I don't
So,
understand is
do we-
she's not talking about cutting her child off. She's talking about cutting off her 18-year-old grown adult. She's gone.
Okay, so Michael agrees strong. Michael might have written this.
Yeah. We know Ariel didn't write it.
No.
Wow.
Does your
Man.
kid know that as soon as he turns 18, he's like out of the house?
Yeah. Get out of here.
Okay.
Like, okay, so he's on his own paying for college. You're not helping him at all. There's no support whatsoever.
No.
Like,
What about
that
things
it's sink
like
or swim.
Outside of the funniness of it, I don't, this seems, There may be a little more story here. Does her daughter plan to go to college? Does she have a plan for her life? Has she really messed things up in her teenage years? It seems like she's got a real visceral reaction. So there may be some information I don't have. I do think it's good for children to, leave the nest. They're out of high school. What are you going to do next? So I feel strongly about that. But she's using a lot of cut off language and I'm done with her. That feels a little like there may be something below the surface there.
Here's another one. My daughter and I have a tender, loving relationship, and I'm sure she will be surprised to find out she's being turned away.
Did her therapist help her write these? Because they are just so...
I don't know.
What the hell?
So, I mean, what do you do? What do you like? This person obviously decided to cut the daughter off. Now, the daughter did mention, there's a little bit of extra context. The daughter did mention that she didn't feel like it was her mom's responsibility to pay for her college. And she said that the mom said this is what started her down this road toward just total evisceration of their relationship.
It's also funny that she's already come to terms with the fact that this may ruin my relationship with my daughter, but I'm prepared for those consequences.
Yeah. I've been dealing with this for 18 years, and honestly, I'm okay with it being done forever.
Yeah, maybe if she doesn't, if she doesn't talk to me for 2 years, I'd be okay with that. Yeah, that's rough.
In fact, I kind of want her to not talk to me after this.
Yeah. So I feel like I understand Michael's going to be pretty firm on not going doing something that's not necessary, right? Is that that's great. It's like, hey, I'm going to help you, but you need to.
Well, again,
I'm only going to help you so much.
There's so much context that's missed here. It seems like the plan for the future probably should have been figured out over time. It's a conversation you should be having with your kids. So I don't know what necessitates the need to feel like you're done. I'm absolutely cutting you off. Is there not a plan? Is she going a route that you don't agree with? I don't know. It seems pretty harsh for me. I think personally, my philosophy would be that, I want my kids to continue on about their life and have a plan and go make something happen. But I can't see what would precipitate needing to use such rough language.
Yeah. Do you think a lawyer's going to deliver a letter to this person's child?
I also
eviction notice.
Yeah. It'll probably upset her. So maybe I'll wait until after she graduates.
Yeah.
When should I drop this bomb?
Congratulations, honey. Guess what?
Yeah, I think that's the problem that I have with it. It's is your child assuming that things are going to go as they have, and you're just going to surprise them with this information? Because that seems awful. That's bad parenting, I think, or bad friend. That would be a bad friend or partner or anything to drop a bomb like that. But I don't know. I guess I should also explain that I have an 18-year-old who has, graduated from high school and gone off to college and came back home, dropped out of college since.
No lawyers?
It's been a wild ride. No lawyers involved. And, there is something where when you have a kid that age, you want them to be self-sufficient. You're we've been training for this for 18 years. You're going to go off into the world and do your own thing. And our stance, my husband and I, it has been, we will help you out in terms of giving you a place to stay if you need that. But you have to be proving that you're trying to do something as well. Our child works. She's got one job right now. She's worked multiple jobs. She's got a plan, all of that. You have bills that you have to pay still. You're responsible for your cell phone bill, your car insurance, those types of things. As long as you are taking care of the things that you need to take care of and being a contributing member to our house, our family, you can continue staying here. We can help you. I'm not going to pay for everything in the way that I would when you were 9, 10, 15, whatever it was. But if we go out to dinner and we invite you, yeah, we're going to buy you dinner.
Well,
but,
and it's not summer vacation, right? You
yeah,
graduated
no,
high school.
no.
I think that's kind of the point there is it's okay if maybe kids are finding their footing, but are you finding your footing? Are you making a plan? What's weird about this question is she's not even graduated high school and she's ready to just cut things off. So something has happened in this relationship. It's just...
I will say though, that the months leading up to graduation, I've had this conversation with so many friends who are in the same situation. As a parent, you are so ready for this child to be gone. You are like the tension, like when you were a senior in high school, the senioritis feeling, like I am done.
I had
with
a
this.
calendar on the
Your
refrigerator. How
parents-
many days till I moved out?
Yes, and your parents feel the same way about it. They're like, I cannot wait. The energy in the house changes. Like it is. I mean, my daughter and I, we were like at each other's throats, and it was the minute she went off to school, it was like, we can all breathe again. It was great. It was.
So maybe this
I
mom has
understand
just
the
had a
parents'
tough
energy.
senior year.
I think so. I think that, yeah, if we're going to be generous with it, I'd say that. But she needs to check herself first.
Yeah, I think if you're the parent in the situation, like I think you've already made a mistake if you are at this point. Like it's your kid's last semester of high school and you haven't had this conversation of like, hey, just so you know, like when you graduate, here's what's going to happen. Like to me, granted, I'm not a parent, but like that feels like something that you should have decided years ago and been talking about leading up to this. Like to drop a bomb like that at this point feels like it's way too late and you are maybe solving a problem for yourself, but you're putting it onto your kid in a way that is pretty unfair and is mostly your fault.
I've got a question before I give my answer or thought. Do we feel like an 18-year-old is equipped to handle the real world as it is, like with how college costs are now?
No.
I don't know, just everything in the real world. Like, are they equipped to just be out on their own? And does that actually potentially make them better in some way to just like cut it off completely?
Well, it's pretty stark to say like on your own. Are they, as though they're entering
I'm saying
another
in the context
dimension?
of this situation.
Yeah,
Because this is like stark.
I think that at the time that you are done with high school, like what are you going to do next? You're going to get a job. You're going to go to college. I think those are questions that you hopefully have some idea on, or you can work through. But I also think that there's this kind of idea that when kids are graduate high school, they're just like dropped into the ether. Yeah, you're an adult now, but like hopefully you still have some kind of community. Hopefully your family still is there to kind of support you and help you and guide you. And, you have some other structure in life that you're not just falling, off of a mountain. Things change. You have to take up new responsibilities for sure. But and maybe one of the problems is that people are so disconnected and with technology and social media or whatever, you don't have that community. And so you were in high school and then you're just dropped into a void. And like, what do you do now? I think that's a sad thing. But for all of history in all time, like you should be progressing into adulthood. And that path may look different. It may take you longer to figure out what you want to do. But there's a lot of people who just are floating. And I feel like the floating is kind of unique to where we are right now in society. But I think it's something that anybody can, you try and find a place, you try and take a step into whatever you want to do for the rest of your life. And if you have setbacks, that's okay. But yeah, I think, are 18-year-olds completely prepared for life? No, but neither are 25-year-olds or 40-year-olds. Like we're just figuring it out.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Was that a yes or no?
Well, the end I said.
I'm just trying.
No, they're not completely prepared for life, but you're never going to be.
Yeah, I think I would say that if you were just to drop your kid off at 18 on their birthday and be like, hey, peace out, figure things out, they would struggle, but I think they could do it. I don't think that it would be easy, but I think anybody is capable of figuring things. Well, not anybody. I don't know, like a 10-year-old, but I don't know about your kids at 2 and 1, but
yeah. Okay, Robert, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a tough balance because I think back to myself at 18 and I was dumb. I did a lot of dumb stuff.
Me too.
Yeah. And so it's like and I think about like, would I make those decisions now? And like some of them, maybe, but like many of them, hell no. And so just to think about, like, I know, Bobby, you always talk about the frontal lobe, but to like legitimately think about the level of intelligence and maturity that you have as an 18-year-old, like it's sure it's higher than when you were younger, but you're not fully developed. And so to like, just, it does to me feel like a very stark difference from like you're in high school where your entire life is regimented and planned by someone else to like complete cutoff at the end of that. It feels very drastic. And so to me, like speaking to like this situation in particular, I don't know. I feel like if I have kids one day and I'm in a situation like this, I would like for there to be like sort of a stair step process, right? Of like, okay, you graduate high school, next step, you get a job, you're making X amount. Once you hit this point, which is hopefully by the time you're this age, you know, my financial support to you drops to this level. And so it's like you form clear agreements of like, here's what the transition to being a full-fledged adult looks like.
Yeah, I was an idiot. So that's why I asked that question, because I was like, there's no way. Like it took me like, I don't even know. I was like well into my early 20s before I even knew what I wanted to do with my life, and had, I don't know, like I got through college and everything, but I still don't think that I was like really highly functional in the real world. It took me maybe longer than it should have. So I think like, I think that this lady, I think this is like a highly questionable decision for her to do, because I think that I think it potentially sets your kid off on a lower trajectory, like success wise, than they would be if you like help them through college and like were there for them as a support system. Like, and I also think it's a lot, like as a parent, I think there's a lot you can be very idealistic about, like, here's what I'm going to do when my kid turns 18 and I'm going to have these rules. I don't know yet, but I have a feeling it's not going to turn out anything like I thought it was. And if I have multiple kids, like one's going to be totally different than the other. Maybe one can like totally jump off at 18 and be self-sufficient. The other one might not. So I kind of think that I'm going to help support, but I don't know what I'm going to do. But I do think just cutting them off at 18 like this is, it's a risky, it's a risky thing. Like,
I want to go. I want to
Yeah.
go to something you said, Bobby, about like I might support them or help support, something about support. I think that it's important to remember that there are different ways that you can support your children too. You can offer financial support. You can offer some type of like, hey, can we sit down and go through your budget, and I can help you understand how to prioritize things. I can listen to you when you want to go over your problems. I can offer advice. So like what this parent is doing, and why I feel like it's questionable, is that it seems like they're cutting off all support. It's not just financial support. Like you are limiting you are essentially saying like, I'm not going to be in your life anymore, is what it kind of sounds like. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to help you in any sort of way. And that feels, I don't know. She says like we could have what did she say? Something about like having a relationship later on or something. Like that's
like it'll just smooth over later.
Yeah. You're be prepared for your child to spend many years hating you and like probably needing some therapy. You might both need therapy together. I don't know. This sounds.
One person seems like they already potentially might need the therapy.
You may have a
I
devouring
think so.
mother.
Yeah.
And it's the parent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Ariel is right. I think a good distinction is financial support versus being a parent, and I guess that's emotional and mental and every other kind of support. If you want to put boundaries around finances or what is to be expected about what you're going to financially provide your kids, okay, have that conversation, set boundaries. We could go back and forth on sort of what your obligation is to your kid, depending on what they're doing, but you have no right to just completely remove yourself from their lives and expect it to be healthy. That's so again, there may be more of a story here, but at face value, I'd say this is a parent who is going to cut ties to her daughter that are probably never going to be fully recovered.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about too is like I think you do sort of have to walk a line, because I think in general, people live up to the expectations you set of them. Right. And so it's like, I don't think as a parent, you can say like, I'm going to give you everything you need all the time, no questions asked, because then like not everyone, but many children will like lean on that to the fullest extent. Whereas I think if you're like, hey, I'm here for emergencies and I'm here to like emotionally support you and we can talk through this, but like for all intents and purposes, like you are on your own. And, you know, I don't know. So I think like you do have to ride that line of supporting, but not enabling, I guess.
Yeah. And if you're this lady's daughter and you need emotional support, reach out to us. Shoot us an email. If you just need
bring you
somebody to
Text us at
just
321-222-02.
tell you-
You can be our child. We will not financially support you, but
We want to make that
we'll
abundantly
help
clear.
you in other ways.
we want to make it clear that we're not actually family at all.
Right.
We, you know,
And we won't
We'll
be
draft
yours
up
either.
an agreement of the expectations and
Yes.
the level of support that we'll provide.
Yes.
It'll be
Yes.
very clear.
We'll need you to perform some tasks for us. So really what we're saying is we'll offer you an internship. An unpaid internship.
unpaid. Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you have a decision that you'd like us to weigh in on, you can text it to us at 321-222-0203. We also have an incredible email list. The link to it is in the show notes. Sign up. You can see us in your inbox often. We'll be back next week and talk soon.